As we introduce you to sports life coaching, we're really anchored in coaching a person in 3 dimensions. So those 3 dimensions are personally for significance, professionally for success, and philanthropically for service. So I really want to dive into what does this philanthropic dimension really look like? How do we do it? Pretty familiar with how to live our life personally and how to go for things professionally for success. But really the new thing we want to introduce here, and we want to make sure that you're equipped, if you go out and start coaching in our 3D model, that you really understand the power of this philanthropic for service. Now for us, it's an introduction into philanthropy, and we really want to introduce the new language around it's not about giving money. Being a philanthropist is about being a championship giver. And we believe every person is a championship giver, and they can certainly get trained to really be better at this great skill. So how do you do that? Well, everything that we talk about in terms of our 3 dimensions, philanthropically for service, is about giving hope. And what does that mean to us? Well, for us, it means get involved, volunteer, educate, help other people excel. That's what the acronym G.I.V.E.H.O.P.E stands for us. So what's great about this is that you can start to practice that 3rd dimension very easy. Just a matter of giving hope. So how do you give hope, and how do you really work on being a championship giver? Well, just think about the simple things that you can do. You can give a smile to give hope. You can listen to someone. You can say hello in the grocery store. You can pay it forward when you're in line at Starbucks. Whatever you want to do, this is up to you to really begin to think about, how do I want to give hope? So what's fun about this is we like to say give hope and get happy. And the great part about this is scientifically they have proof that as soon as you give hope, you start to get happy by these endorphins that start to get stimulated. What's really amazing about this is every time that you get engaged with another person and really anchor in giving them hope, all of a sudden both of you are getting so much out of it. And this is what's fun about just starting to practice that 3rd dimension of philanthropic. So as you think about really beginning to practice this 3rd dimension of your life, which is called Give Hope, that philanthropic component, we're going to put it into a game model, just like our sports model. So our game is going to be called Give Hope, Get Happy. So here's how it works. We've got a deck of cards, and they're all based on what happens whenever you give hope. So our opponent is cortisol. What's really important is that anytime we are stressed out or anxious or any of those negative things, we've got cortisol just flowing through us. And cortisol is actually, some of it is good, but not too much of it. What's really important about this cortisol component is thinking about it as our opponent. And so if we're feeling lonely or depressed or just, not really our best self, this is what's happening, is that cortisol is going through our body and it's actually zapping us of any of our good feelings. So cortisol is our opponent that we're working on really beating in this game. Our next one is called dopamine. So what's really great about dopamine is that dopamine tells our brain that we're doing a good job and gives us a feeling of accomplishment. So it's often referred to as the chemical of reward, and it's highly addictive. So how do you get some dopamine? Well, the great news is you're in charge of being able to really win at this game of Give Hope, Get Happy. You can get dopamine by volunteering, making lists and checking things off your list, and victory. Anytime you do well and you feel a sense of accomplishment, you're actually getting a rush of dopamine. That's a winning strategy for Give Hope, Get Happy. Our next one is serotonin. Serotonin sends messages to our brain that helps us to relax and concentrate. What's great about serotonin is that it's often called the leadership chemical. And it really is about living in the moment and having these positive thoughts. How do you get serotonin whenever you give hope and get happy? You get it from public recognition. So if you'll notice when somebody really calls you out at doing something great, you're actually getting a hit of serotonin. We get it from sunshine, so go out, enjoy that vitamin D, and we get it from happy thoughts. So what's really great about that is that you can just use your brain to actually engage you in getting that serotonin. Our other one is endorphins. Endorphins are a natural antidepressant which helps us feel happy. And they can really help us deal with physical pain and reduce the feelings of depression. So how do we get these endorphins released? We exercise. It only takes 30 minutes of physical activity for us to really begin to give hope and get happy. Laughter is a huge winning strategy for us being able to feel that release of those endorphins. And fun. That's what's really important about your rest and recovery and your time with friends, is that if it's fun, you're actually getting the release of endorphins. And oxytocin. Oxytocin is released with physical touch. This is why you feel so much better when you get those high fives. It's that sense of support and encouragement. So oxytocin is a result of physical touch, generosity, kindness, and being trusted. So what's great about this, you can get it from eye contact. So just engaging with a person and looking in their eyes is a really great way to release some oxytocin. When you start volunteering, it really helps you to begin to feel that give hope, get happy feeling. So that's a great way for you to be able to control how can you give hope and get happy. Well, play the game. Make sure that you've got that opponent of cortisol and you know when it's rushing through you and you know what to do with it. Make that cortisol work for you. Use it for game time. Use it when you need that rush. But the rest of your time, we really want you thinking about, how can I give hope to somebody else? Because when you give hope to somebody else, it makes you happy. Now, as we begin to unpack this whole concept of giving hope and get happy, we anchor it in the power of your story. If you're gonna really do the reps on this and practice, it's gotta mean something to you. So if you watch your film and think about a time when you got involved in some community service or you got involved in giving in some way and you loved it and the time just flew by and you were like, oh my gosh, I wish I could do more of that. That was because it meant something to you. It was probably some page of your story that really resonated. So the power of your story really helps to keep you engaged and helps you just investing in a person, a project, something that you feel like matters to you. So for instance, sports is a great place to start for me. I love sports. It's really important to me. And I love sports life coaching. So those are two of my favorite things. So the way I can use sports to give hope is that I can give sports life coaching to a team, a club team or a YMCA team, somebody that wouldn't be able to afford sports life coaching or be able to be engaged in it. I can give hope to them by sharing my passion of sports life coaching. So think about what's important to you, base it on the power of your story. Also think about who gave hope to you in your life. That's what's really powerful about this, is that all of our work in sports life coaching is anchored to who you are and how much it matters to you, so that you can go out and really give this to the people that you care about. So as you're thinking about coaching a person in their philanthropic dimension for service, remember it starts with the power of their story, what's important to them, who's important to them, who gave them hope. That's how we get kind of warmed up to really think about how to be a championship giver. Then we've got this game, Give Hope, Get Happy. Get out there and see how many points you can score by giving as much hope away so that you can get those endorphins starting to flow through you and you can start to feel happy just by giving hope.